Now for Sunday section of the lesson, it says, read Mark 2 verses 27 and 28. Let's look at 27. It says, then he said to them, the Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath. Verse 28 says, so the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath. Read the Into the Story section and use the questions in the Out of the Story section to guide your study. So let's go to those two sections now. Into the story. Going from that place, he went into their synagogue, and a man with a shriveled hand was there. Looking for a reason to bring charges against Jesus, they asked him, is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath? He said to them, if any of you has a sheep and it falls into a pit on the Sabbath, will you not take hold of it and lift it out? How much more valuable is a person than a sheep? Therefore, it is lawful to do good on the Sabbath. Then he said to the man, stretch out your hand. So he stretched it out, and it was completely restored, just as sound as the other. But the Pharisees went out and plotted how they might kill Jesus. Another time, Jesus went into the synagogue, and a man with a shriveled hand was there. Some of them were looking for a reason to accuse Jesus, so they watched him carefully to see if he would heal on the Sabbath. Jesus said to the man with the shriveled hand, stand up in front of everyone. Then Jesus asked them, which is lawful on the Sabbath, to do good or to do evil, to save life or to kill? But they remained silent. He looked around at them in anger, and deeply distressed at their stubborn hearts, said to the man, stretch out your hand. He stretched it out, and his hand was completely restored. Then the Pharisees went out and began to plot with the Herodians how they might kill Jesus. Another Sabbath he went into a synagogue and was teaching, and a man was there whose right hand was shriveled. The Pharisees and the teachers of the law were looking for some reason to accuse Jesus, so they watched him closely to see if he would heal on the Sabbath. But Jesus knew what they were thinking and said to the man with the shriveled hand, get up and stand in front of everyone. So he got up and stood there. Then Jesus said to them, I ask you, which is lawful on the Sabbath to do, good or to do evil, to save life or to destroy it? He looked around at them and then said to the man, stretch out your hand. So he did, and his hand was completely restored. But the Pharisees and teachers of the law were furious and began to discuss with one another what they might do to Jesus. So those readings were from Matthew 12 verse 9 to 14, Mark 3 verses 1 to 6, and Luke 6 verses 6 to 11. Now for the Out of the Story section, it says here, compare the three perspectives of the same event and note how the stories are different and how they are similar. What words and phrases do Mark and Luke use that Matthew leaves out? What words or phrases does Luke use that Matthew and Mark leave out? What words or phrases does Mark alone use? Now, what criteria does Jesus use for Sabbath keeping? How does Jesus' question, which is lawful on the Sabbath to do good or to do evil, to save life or destroy it, change the way you look at the Sabbath? Interesting question. Now consider Jesus' question, if any of you has a sheep and it falls into a pit on the Sabbath, will you not take hold of it and lift it out? How much more valuable is a man than a sheep? What is the central point of this exchange? Next question. How would you describe the reaction of the Jewish leaders to what Christ does in the synagogue? And finally, what would you say is the primary purpose of the Sabbath according to this story? Well, according to the story, doing good is important. Bringing people back into relation with Jesus is is also highlighted there. The reaction by the Jewish leaders is disappointing in that they were missing the point of the Sabbath and the point of Jesus' ministry, to bring people back into relationship with God. So for the question, what is the central point of the exchange? To really look at where the heart is. Is the heart with the suffering people, or is the heart with politics and position? So we have read those sections. It says, Mark is the writer, but he is writing Peter's words, which is why the stories have a lot of emotion. Luke's perspective offers a lot of details that convey information. Matthew seems to have a special message for Jewish people when he tells the story. Which perspective do you identify with most? Why? If you were to write your own perspective, what would be your emphasis? What do you think is the central issue in this story? For me, the central issue is that the people could not see, those religious leaders, that sect of people could not see Jesus for what his true mission was.